No one would have thought that China would be the one to win the electric vehicle race. So how did it happen?
We have a lot of respect for the car companies in China. They are the most competitive in the world.
There's a potential here for new General Motors, for new Fords to emerge, and for China to be a dominant player.
Now they want to go all electric and put you all out of business. You know that, right?
Increasingly, more and more analysts expect China to be a leader in EV production, partly because it has the largest automobile market in the world, and then it has all these government policies to support consumers to buy EVs.
They have an all-of-society approach to winning and dominating the electric vehicle market globally. The U.S. seems to be sort of like the young reluctant colt saying, we'll get around to it, but what's the hurry? Well, there is a hurry. The race is on. China and Europe are way ahead.
Yeah, so how did China become the global leader in EVs? More importantly, what role did Tesla play, if any, in China's EV revolution? And the biggest of all, can other countries replicate China's electric vehicle success? Now that we've glimpsed China's electric vehicle conquest, let's rewind the clock a bit and explore when, why, and how this all started. Imagine this. One moment, nobody's really paying attention, and the next, China's at the forefront of making and snapping up EVs like they're going out of style. And boy, have they been on a roll, just in the blink of an eye. From a measly 1.3 million EVs sold yearly, they've skyrocketed to a staggering 6.8 million in just 2 short years. And get this, in 2023 alone, over 8 million shiny new plug-in electric cars hit the roads in China, marking a jaw-dropping 46% surge from the year before. Talk about leaving the competition in the dust. Now let's put that into perspective. While China was busy breaking records left and right, the US could barely keep up, selling a mere 800,000 EVs in 2022 and crawling up to 1 million in 2023. It's like watching a tortoise trying to race a hare, no contest. So how did China manage to pull off this electrifying feat, you ask? Well, buckle up because it's a tale filled with twists and turns. First off, let's give credit where it's due. The Chinese government played a major role in this blockbuster success story. They rolled out the red carpet for EVs with generous subsidies, tax breaks, and all sorts of sweet deals to make sure folks were not just making, but buying these eco-friendly rides. Thanks to these incentives, a whole bunch of homegrown EV brands popped up, hustling to innovate and cater to the needs of Chinese drivers. And guess what? It worked like a charm, creating a whole new generation of EV enthusiasts. But wait, there's more to this tale than just government policies. You've got Tesla stirring up the pot, Chinese whizzes tinkering away at battery tech, and folks from all across Asia jumping on the EV bandwagon. It's a roller coaster ride of innovation, ambition, and a dash of good old-fashioned competition. So guys, buckle up and stay tuned, because China's electric vehicle revolution is just getting started, and trust me, you won't want to miss a single twist and turn. All right, let's rewind the clock and take a peek into China's journey into the world of electric vehicles, shall we? Picture this. Back in the early 2000s, China's car industry found itself in a bit of a pickle. Sure, they were churning out traditional cars like nobody's business, but they were playing catch-up to foreign giants like the US, Germany, and Japan. There wasn't a single domestic brand with the chops to give these heavyweights a run for their money. So what did China do? They took a long, hard look at the situation and realized something crucial. Trying to outdo the big guns in gas-powered car innovation was like trying to outshine the sun with a flashlight. It just wasn't happening. Even the hybrid vehicle scene was already buzzing, mainly led by countries like Japan. China knew it couldn't compete there either, so they did something bold. They decided to break away from the pack and dive headfirst into a whole new ballgame. Cars powered solely by batteries. Now, mind you, this was a risky move. Back then, electric vehicles were little more than niche experiments, often abandoned by big-name brands after just a few spins around the block. But China saw the potential jackpot waiting at the end of the rainbow, a chance to lead the charge in a game-changing slice of the auto industry. Meanwhile, other countries, snug in their comfy spots as gas or hybrid car champs, didn't see much reason to switch gears. years. Japan, for instance, was already sitting pretty at the top of the hybrid game, smugly saying, "Hey, I can already whip up cars that guzzle 40% less fuel than yours. Good luck catching up." But for China, diving into the electric vehicle scene wasn't just about flexing its automotive muscles. It was a golden opportunity to tackle some major issues head-on, like smog-choked skies, oil addiction, and bouncing back from the economic slump of 2008. It was like hitting several birds with one stone, a win-win situation if there ever was one. And here's the kicker. China already had a few aces up its sleeve. You see, while making EVs required a different playbook, China's auto supply chain was already pretty darn good. They had the manufacturing know-how and a treasure trove of affordable materials, all ready to be repurposed for this brave new world of electric rides. So China rolled up its sleeves and got down to business. As early as 2001, they started pumping money into EV research and development, making it a top priority in their economic game plan. And in 2007, they got a shot in the arm when Wan Gang, a car whiz with a soft spot for electric rides, took the helm as China's Minister of Science and Technology. Wan was practically giddy about EVs, even taking Tesla's first model, the Roadster, for a spin the year it hit the streets. Talk about putting your money where your mouth is. From that point on, China's been on a one-way road to electric glory, with EV development front and center in their national economic strategy. And the rest, as they say, is history in the making. Here's the deal. When it comes to steering the ship of its economy, China's government knows a thing or two about setting its sights on the prize. It's kind of like when you're cooking up a storm in the kitchen. You focus your attention on the dishes you want to whip up, right? Well, China does the same with its industries, whether it's semiconductors or, in this case, electric vehicles. So, back in 2009, China started sprinkling some financial fairy dust on EV companies, offering up juicy subsidies for cranking out electric buses, taxis, and cars for everyday folks like you and me. Back then, selling EVs was like trying to sell ice to a polar bear. Less than 500 of these babies found new homes in China. But with more moolah in the mix, companies could beef up their models and consumers could snag an EV without burning a hole in their wallets. Fast forward to 2022, and we're talking serious cash, over 200 billion RMB, that's a whopping $29 billion, poured into subsidies and tax breaks by the government. And boy, did it pay off. By the end of 2022, China was chalking up more than 6 million EV sales, stealing the thunder from the rest of the world. But wait, there's more. The government wasn't just throwing money around like confetti. They were also handing out sweet deals to keep those homegrown EV companies afloat. Picture this. Before EVs were all the rage among regular folks, they were already cruising the streets as part of China's sprawling public transport system. Think buses, taxis, the whole shebang. These contracts not only brought in the cash flow, but also served up heaps of real-world data for these companies to fine-tune their rides. But hey, subsidies and tax breaks aren't the only tricks up China's sleeve. They've got more aces hidden up their bureaucratic sleeves. Take, for instance, the hoops you gotta jump through to snag a car license plate in bustling cities like Beijing. It's like trying to crack a safe, and even then, it can take ages or a small fortune to get your hands on one for a gas guzzler. But guess what? If you opt for an EV, consider those hoops magically vanished. Talk about cutting through the red tape. And as if that wasn't enough, local governments are getting in on the action too, teaming up with EV companies to cook up tailor-made policies that grease the wheels of growth. Take BYD, for example, a Chinese contender giving Tesla a run for its money. They cozied up to the southern city of Shenzhen, turning it into the world's first city to swap out its entire fleet of public buses for electric ones. Now that's what I call a power move. Now, for the question that's on everyone's tongue.
We've arguably never seen anything like this in terms of, the amount of support that China has extended to automakers, specifically pertaining to EVs.
Beijing has given an estimated $30 billion of tax exemptions to the industry since 2010 and may waive a further $97 billion by 2027.
China actually takes a carrot and stick approach. They set mandatory EV output targets for automakers, but they also offer cheaper loans and cheaper land, R&D subsidies to all those EV makers.
They've got a long ways to go, Carl. Let me give you some perspective on GM's global sales. Last year, the company sold about 6.6 million vehicles worldwide. Take a guess how many were fully electric. Just 49,149.
China's betting big on electric vehicles for several reasons. First, they've always been a follower in traditional vehicles, and they wanted to find a way to catch up technologically and not be dependent on Europe or the US on engine technology. Also, they have a significant air pollution problem, and they're also the world's largest importer of oil.
It's no secret that without regulation, without rules, without subsidies, electric vehicles would have never gotten off the ground, whether it's in California, in China, or in Europe. It's been the government pushing the electric vehicle future. China's been the most aggressive in this regard.
Finally, you might be asking, okay, so if China really is the EV king, then here's what happened. You see, when the Chinese government started dishing out those sweet, sweet subsidies, they didn't play favorites. Nope, they threw open the doors to all players, domestic and foreign alike. And you know what? That was a stroke of genius. Instead of ruffling feathers by leaving out the foreigners, they welcomed everyone to the party. And once you're in, well, there's no turning back. You're part of the gang, whether you like it or not. But it wasn't just about handing out checks. Oh no, local Chinese governments were rolling out the red carpet for Tesla, wooing them with promises of prime real estate and favorable policies. Case in point, the lightning-fast construction of Tesla's Gigafactory in Shanghai back in 2019. I'm talking going from a patch of dirt to full-blown production in less time than it takes to binge-watch your favorite TV show. That's the power of government support in action, guys. Fast forward to today, and China has become Tesla's playground. The Shanghai Gigafactory is the crown jewel in Tesla's manufacturing empire, churning out more cars than you can shake a stick at. In fact, it's responsible for over half of all Tesla cars delivered in 2022. Now that's what I call a match made in heaven. But hold on to your hats, because this love affair isn't one-sided. Oh no, China's been reaping the rewards too. Thanks to Tesla's presence, the Chinese electric vehicle scene has been set on fire, with homegrown brands scrambling to keep pace with the big dog in town. It's like the ultimate game of cat and mouse, with Tesla playing the role of the wily feline, pushing Chinese brands to up their game in everything from tech wizardry to price tags. Now even Tesla's feeling the heat. With domestic brands breathing down its neck, it's got to stay on its toes if it wants to keep its crown in China's electric kingdom. Well, let's take a peek at whether other countries can hop on this bandwagon and replicate China's mind-blowing success. Spoiler alert, it's not as simple as copying and pasting. Sure, plenty of countries are eyeing China's electric vehicle journey with envy, but here's the kicker, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. While some nations might have all the right ingredients for cooking up their own electric vehicle revolution, like top-notch tech know-how and a robust supply chain, they've also got a few hurdles to jump over. I'm talking about pesky things like political systems. See, the million-dollar question is this: are these countries willing to roll up their sleeves and dive headfirst into the electric vehicle pool? Are they ready to shower the industry with love and attention, giving it the VIP treatment it deserves? That's a tough nut to crack. But here's where it gets really interesting. What about countries like India or Brazil? They might not have the same automotive muscle as China, nor the government wizardry when it comes to pulling strings behind the scenes. But hey, China's journey has shown us one thing loud and clear. Electric vehicles can be a game changer for developing nations looking to leapfrog their way into the big leagues. Now don't get me wrong. It's not that these countries can't replicate China's success. It's just that China's been playing this game for decades, fine-tuning its strategies and pulling out all the stops. they've got a whole arsenal of policy tools at their disposal, from subsidies to tax breaks and everything in between. So can other countries follow in China's footsteps? The short answer is yes, but it's going to take a whole lot of grit, determination, and maybe a sprinkle of that Chinese magic to make it happen. But hey, where there's a will, there's a way, right? So who knows? Maybe the next electric vehicle powerhouse is already gearing up for its moment in the spotlight. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss an update from us. And to watch the latest geopolitical news, watch this video here.